Shalom Israel, it's Kazawan on my Tribe of Judahteach page. And in this video, I want to break down one particular scripture, Numbers 13 and 33. Now, as some of you know, there's a popular doctrine going around in Israel that says that the angels came down and had sex with women, and that those women had babies by the angels. Those babies supposedly grew up to be these 450 feet tall giants, and those giants were half angel and half human, called the Nephilim. Now, every time I hear this teaching, it drives me up a wall because it's so ridiculous. But people constantly send me personal messages asking me questions about this topic. They say, if angels didn't have sex with women and the giants wasn't 450 feet tall, then how do you explain Numbers 13 and 33? So that's what this video is about. Let's read it and see what it says. Here we go. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. And we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. So some people are saying that this verse proves that the giants really was half angel and half human, and that they really was 450 feet tall, because the Israelites said, we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. So it definitely sounds like they were super duper tall. But before we get to the height of the giants, let's deal with this half angel, half human doctrine. Let's kill that right now. Here we go. Colossians 1 and verse 16. It says, for by him, meaning by Christ, were all things created that are in heaven and that are in earth, visible, meaning the things you can see, like the sun, the moon, animals, people. It says, and invisible, meaning the things you can't see, like angels and spirits. You can't see those things, but Christ still created them. It says, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities, again, angels, spirits, or powers, all things were created by him and for him. Now, let's get John 1 and 3. Here it is. It says, all things were made by him, meaning Christ, and without him was not anything made that was made. Now, when it says all things were made by him, we know what this is talking about because we read the same thing in Colossians. The sun, the moon, animals, people, and even the angels. We know Christ made all these things. Then it says, and without him was not anything made that was made. Now, after reading that verse, let me show you how big of a lie this half angel, half human doctrine is. Think about this. If you believe that angels slept with women, and the women had babies by the angels, and these babies were half angel and half human, if you believe that, then you're saying that the angels made a new species on earth. Yet, the Bible says all things were made by him, by Christ. And without him, without Christ, was not anything made that was made. So how could John write this verse if the angels made a new species? That would make John a liar. So how are you going to get around this verse? You can't, if you're honest. This one verse kills that whole wicked false doctrine. So let it go. If John was telling the truth, and we know he was, then there were never any half angel, half human people. And that also means that the angels never got any women pregnant. so let that mess go too. Now, let's deal with the size of these giants. Was they really the size of tall buildings, 450 feet tall? Let's read Numbers 13 and 33 again and break it down using the precepts in the Bible. Here we go. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak. So the giants that they saw were the sons of Anak, which are also called the Anakims. Let me show you that. This is a Bible index on your screen. It says the Anakim were called the sons of Anak, Numbers 13 and 33. And that's the verse we're reading now. So we see that the sons of Anak are also called the Anakims. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to use the precepts in the Bible to find out how tall the sons of Anak or the Anakims really was. Here we go. Genesis 14 and 5. It says, and in the 14th year came Kedorlaomer, and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims in Ashtaroth Karnaim. Now, who are the Rephaims? Let's look it up in the Blue Letter Bible and see who they are. Here it is. It's number 7497. It says, giants, Rephaim, old tribe of giants. So now we know that the Rephaims are giants. So let's go back to Genesis 14 and 5 and finish the verse. It says, and in the 14th year came Kedorlaomer, and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims in Ashtaroth Karnaim, and the Zuzims in Ham, and the Emims in Shavah Kiriathaim. So not only did these kings kill some of the Rephaim giants, but they also killed some of the Emims. Now let's see who the Emims are. Deuteronomy 2 and 9. It says, and the Lord said unto me, distress not the Moabites, neither contend with them in battle, for I will not give thee of their land for a possession, because I have given Ar unto the children of Lot for a possession. Verse 10, the Emims dwelt therein in times past. Okay, so the Emims used to live in Moab before the Moabites got there. So let's see how the Bible describes the Emims. It says, a people great and many, and tall as the Anakims. So the scriptures say that the Emims are just as tall as the Anakims. Verse 11, which also were accounted giants as the Anakims. So the Emims and the Anakims were both giants. But watch this. It says, but the Moabites called them Emims. So verse 11 lets us know that the Emims and the Anakims are both giants. So let's see what kind of giants they are. Now, when you look up the word giants in verse 11, it says giants, Rephaim. So these giants in Deuteronomy 2 and 11 are the descendants of the Rephaim giants that we read about back in Genesis 14. So what does that tell us? It tells us that the Emims and the Anakims were both Rephaim giants, but they were called different names by different people. The Moabites called them Emims. But watch this. Deuteronomy 2 and 19. And when thou comest nigh over against the children of Ammon, distress them not, nor meddle with them. For I will not give thee of the land of the children of Ammon any possession, because I have given it unto the children of Lot for a possession. Verse 20. That also was accounted a land of giants. So before the Ammonites got their land, it used to be inhabited by giants. Watch this. It says, giants dwelt therein in old time, meaning during the time of Abraham. It says, and the Ammonites called them Zamzummims. See, the Ammonites called the giants Zamzummims. But what kind of giants were they? It says, giants dwelt therein in old time. Now, when you click on this word giant, what do you get? Giants, Rephaim. See, these were all Rephaim giants. And how tall were they? Verse 21. A people great and many and tall as the Anakims. So now we clearly see that the Rephaim giants are just as tall as the Anakims. So according to the Bible, all the giants are around the same height. Whether you're talking about the Emims, the Zamzummims, the Anakims, or the Rephaim, they are all around the same height according to the Bible. So now that we know that, we can easily find out how tall the sons of Anak was and put it into this debate. Here it is. Deuteronomy 3:11. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of giants. So we see that King Og was a giant. He was a descendant of the giants. Let's look up Og in the Blue Letter Bible and see where he came from. Here it is. It's number 5747. It says, Og, long-necked. Number 1, the Amorite king of Bashan, and one of the last representatives of the giants of Rephaim. So here we see King Og is a descendant of the Rephaim giants. And the scripture said that the Rephaim giants are just as tall as the Anakims. So since Og was a Rephaim giant, let's look up how tall he was, and that will give us the approximate height of how tall the Anakims, the sons of Anak, was. Here we go. Deuteronomy 3:11. For only Og, king of Bashan, remained of the remnant of giants. Behold, his bedstead was a bedstead of iron. Is it not in Rabbath of the children of Ammon? 9 cubits was the length thereof, and 4 cubits the breadth of it, after the cubit of a man. So the bed that belonged to King Og, the giant, it was 9 cubits long and 4 cubits wide. Now, let's say his bed was 1 cubit longer than he was, so that he would have some space above his head and below his feet. That would make King Og around 12 feet tall. You can look this up for yourself. There are plenty of websites you can check that will tell you that King Og was 12 feet tall based on the measurements given in the Bible of his bed. That was his height, around 12 feet tall. So if Og was 12 feet tall, how in the world was the sons of Anak 450 feet tall, or the size of buildings? That's ridiculous. Now we know that Goliath was a giant also, and he was 9 feet 9 inches tall, based on the measurements given in the Bible. So based on the scriptures, we can safely say that the height of the giants in the Bible ranged from 9 feet to 12, possibly 13 feet tall. I'll give an extra foot for argument's sake. So, where are the 450 feet tall giants? That's not in the Bible. That's Greek mythology. So let's go back to Numbers 13 and 33 and clear all this up. Here it is. And there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. Now, here is the part where the confusion comes in. This is what the Israelites said that has some people confused. They said, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. So people read that part and they say, see, the sons of Anak had to be super duper tall. It said the Israelites was like grasshoppers compared to them. Nope, that's not what it means. We already proved that the sons of Anak were around the same height as all the other giants. So why did the Israelites compare themselves to grasshoppers? Let's get the precept. Isaiah 40, verse 18. It says, to whom then will ye liken the Most High? Or what likeness will ye compare unto him? So the question in this verse is, who can you compare to the Most High? Let's go down to verse 22. It says, it is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth. See, the Most High in all his power, he sits upon the circle of the earth. It says, and the inhabitants thereof, meaning the people on the earth, are as what? Are as grasshoppers. Now why? Why are the people on the earth as grasshoppers to the Most High? Because compared to the power of the Most High, we are nothing. That's why in verse 18 he says, who are you going to compare me to? What can you do against me? And in verse 22 he says, we're like grasshoppers compared to him. Not in size, in power. He's talking about his power. Watch, it says, that stretcheth out the heavens as a curtain. See, the Most High, he stretched out the heavens like a curtain. We can't do that. It says, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. Verse 23, that bringeth the princes to nothing. The Most High with his power can bring you down to nothing, like a grasshopper. It says, he maketh the judges of the earth as vanity. All right, let's go down to verse 26. Lift up your eyes on high, and behold, who have created these things, that bringeth out their hosts by number. He calleth them all by names. Watch this. By the greatness of his might, for that he is strong in power, not one faileth. So the Most High said, he's great in might and strong in power. And he compared himself to people and said they're like grasshoppers compared to him. So is the Most High saying that he's a super huge 450-foot tall giant and we're just little tiny people? No, he's making a comparison of his power compared to our power. That's why he said people are like grasshoppers. And that's exactly what the Israelites were saying in Numbers 13 and 33. Look at it. Here it is. They said, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, meaning they felt powerless compared to the people they saw. Why? Because remember, at this point, the Israelites are coming straight out of the wilderness where they were living in tents. Now, all of a sudden, they get to the land of Canaan. The spies go in to see the land and they see cities with walls. They see people everywhere and the sons of Anak, who was bigger than them. But the height of the people wasn't really the problem. The real issue was they were scared to fight because there were so many people they had to fight against. Remember, there were 7 nations that they had to fight against in order to get the land of Canaan. Let's prove that it wasn't about the height. Watch this. Let's see who was in the land of Canaan. Deuteronomy 7:1. When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee. This is who was in the land. The Hittites, and the Girgashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. Now it said 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. So let's look up this word greater and see what it's actually talking about. Here it is. It's the Hebrew word rab. It says much, many, great, much, many, abounding in, more numerous than. Meaning that there was a lot more people in the land of Canaan than there was of the Israelites. It says abundant, enough, great, strong, greater than. That's what the spies were scared of, the amount of people they saw. It said 7 nations greater and mightier than thou. Let's look up the word mightier. Here it is. It's the Hebrew word atazawam. It says mighty, vast, numerous, mighty, strong in number, numerous, countless, meaning they saw a whole lot of people. It wasn't really about the height. It was the number of people that they saw that they had to fight against. And when the Israelites looked at themselves compared to all those people, they was like, man, we like grasshoppers compared to them. They felt powerless because they didn't have faith in the Most High. That's what was going on. Now, let me show you one more thing about Numbers 13 and 33. This is very important for you to understand. Here it is. It says, and there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants. Now, when you click on the word giants in this verse, you see that it's a different number. It's number 5303. And it says, giants, the Nephilim. See, in our Bible, it says giants, but the word there is actually the Nephilim. So the spies told Moses that they saw the Nephilim in the land. That's why when people read this verse, they think that the sons of Anak were Nephilim, because the spies said, and there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak. But I'm going to show you now that the spies was actually lying when they said they saw the Nephilim. Let me explain. They did see the sons of Anak, but the sons of Anak are not Nephilim, and we're going to prove that. The spies exaggerated the whole story. They didn't see the Nephilim. They lied, and the Most High killed them for lying. Watch this. Let's go up to verse 31. Here it is. It says, but the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. Here's the verse. Look at this. Verse 32. And they brought up an evil report of the land, which they had searched unto the children of Israel. Stop. Now notice that it says that the spies brought up an evil report. What does that mean? Let's see what the Most High said about the report that the spies brought back to Moses. Numbers 14 and 35. This is the Most High speaking. He says, I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me. In the wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die. And the men which Moses sent to search the land, who returned and made all the congregation to murmur against him. Look at this. By bringing up a slander upon the land. Even those men, look at this, that did bring up the evil report upon the land, died by the plague before the Lord. Now notice in verse 36 that the Most High called the evil report that the spies brought to Moses, he called it a slander. Let's look up the word slander and see what it means. This is dictionary.com. It says slander. It means defamation, calumny, a malicious, false, and defamatory statement or report. You see that? A false report. The Most High said the spies brought Moses a false report. In other words, they lied. They didn't see no Nephilim. And we know they didn't see the Nephilim because the Bible tells us that everybody and everything died when the flood came upon the earth. Watch this. Genesis 6:4. It says, there were giants in the earth in those days. Now, the word giants in this verse is also 5303. And it says, giants, the Nephilim. So we see the Nephilim here in Genesis 6 before the flood came. And as I already proved, they were not half angel, half human creatures. The Nephilim were men of that time who were known for being bullies or tyrants. That's what the word Nephilim actually means, bully or tyrant. Let me prove it to you. When you look up giant, number 5303 in the Blue Letter Bible, all it says is giant and the Nephilim. It lets you know that the Nephilim were giants, but it doesn't give you the whole definition. But when you look it up in the hardcover of the concordance, in the actual book, it gives you the whole definition of Nephilim. I scanned this out of the actual book. It says, number 5303, Nephil or Nephil from 5307. Properly, a feller, meaning a fellow or a man, i.e., here it is, a bully or tyrant, giant. There it is. Now, if you don't own the actual book and you want to see it for yourself, you can go online. The website address is on the screen. It's a Hebrew lexicon. If you put in number 5303, it says, number 5303, Nephil or Nephil from 5307. Properly, a feller, again, meaning a fellow or a man, i.e., a bully or tyrant, giant. So that's what Nephilim really means, a bully or a tyrant. As you can see, it doesn't say anything about a half angel, half human. The word Nephilim has absolutely nothing to do with that. What happened was people took Greek mythology and mixed it in with the scriptures to support their wicked doctrine of angels having sex with women. It's a big lie. There were no hybrids in the Bible. Now, back to the point I was making. When you look at Genesis 6, you see that the Nephilim were on the earth before the flood. Now watch this. The Most High sent the flood upon the earth. Genesis 7, verse 17. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. Verse 19. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered. So this water was high. Even the mountains was covered. Now look at this, verse 21. And all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beast and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land, died. Now, verse 23, listen closely. It says, and every living substance was destroyed, meaning everything that was alive, anything that had life in it, it was destroyed. It says, and every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven. And they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. So according to the Bible, the flood killed everything living on the earth. Anything that was alive died. So don't let nobody fool you, telling you stupid stuff like, yeah, some people did survive the flood, but the Bible just don't say it. You gotta go into the book of this or the book of that to get that information. Don't get caught up in that nonsense. The only thing that survived the flood, according to the Bible, was Noah and the people that was inside the ark. And I'm stressing the people inside the ark because I even heard somebody say that when the flood was on the earth, King Og was living back then, and he held onto the bottom of the ark, and that's how he survived the flood. Really? Really? If you believe that, I feel sorry for you because you'll believe anything. That's just stupid. The only survivors of the flood was Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives. 8 people in total. That's what the Bible says. Now, if you believe the Bible, how in the world did the spies see the Nephilim in Numbers 13 and 33 when the Bible said that everything that was alive was killed back in Genesis when the flood came? That's how you know that the spies was actually lying when they said they saw the Nephilim. And that's why the Most High said it was a slander and an evil report, because they were lying. So in conclusion, there were never no giants the size of buildings, 450 feet tall, walking around on earth. And I don't want to hear about what the book of Enoch says, because we just proved in the scriptures how tall the giants was. 9 to possibly 13 feet tall. So I'm done. And with that, I say, Shalom.